How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. Alright, so today's game is incredibly random, but incredibly good. It's from Hal Labs, and this game, I remember my first knowledge of this game was a commercial that used to run during USA's Cartoon Express, where they were selling this game mail order, and they were talking about how it was selected for the Nintendo World Championship. And you know, you don't really buy into the hype behind games, but that little line about this game being selected for that tournament made it so awesome to me. So I eventually, years later, stumbled across a copy of it, and it proved to be just as good as advertised. Today's game, Air Fortress. Now, Air Fortress is your typical space shooter type deal. It's the story goes, this race of people on this planet, Farmel or Farmal or whatever, they their technology has grown to where they can perform acts of space travel. And while they're exploring the areas around their planet, they start to discover these huge air fortresses moving towards their planet. And these air fortresses are a lot like, they're a lot like Galactus in a way, the Marvel character. Whereas they feed on everything around everything that they come in contact with, strip it of its resources, and then they go away. Well, the people of this planet, they decide to send the space fleet to fight these things off. It's quickly decimated, typical, and they end up sending one lone soldier out there. The guy's name, according to the instruction manual, is Hal Bailman. They send this guy Hal Bailman to these air fortresses to destroy them from the inside out. So basically what you do is, the game is broken into two parts, each level. The first level is your approach to the air fortress. The second part of each level is your attack on the fortress from the inside. So the approach plays a lot like your typical side-scrolling shmup. It doesn't move too fast. It's at a good pace. The enemies aren't overpowering, but they are, they're not easy. And you maneuver around, and basically what you're supposed to do in these areas, one, you can die with one hit. You lose lives with one hit in these areas. But you can build up your bomb stock and your energy reserves for the areas, for the interior of the air fortress. Once you make it to the end of each of that approach area, you'll dismount your ship and enter the fortress for the second portion of the game. That plays a lot like, if I could describe it as anything, it reminds me of the NES port of Section Z, the Capcom game. Because you're inside this air fortress. There's, it's kind of non-linear in a way, because you go from room to room in a left to right pattern, but you can also, you go through these doors, and sometimes the doors branch off, the rooms branch off. There's more than one generator you have to blow up, stuff like that. And, you blow up the generators, you destroy the main generators in each fortress, you escape that fortress, move on to the next one, rinse and repeat. And it may sound repetitive, but Air Fortress is a blast to play. It's really fun. And It's not an incredibly flashy game, but it's a fundamentally sound game. So if I had to compare it to something, I would say use a basketball analogy. Air Fortress is probably Mark Price. So, you know, it doesn't have that flash of that flash and zing that something like 1943 or Twin Eagle or games like that may have, but Air Fortress is a solid game. So I heartily recommend Air Fortress. You can find copies of Air Fortress pretty cheap. Again, I heartily recommend Air Fortress. It was picked for the Nintendo World Championship. Ooh. One more time. Y'all see the theme I'm going with here? I heartily recommend Air Fortress. It's a great game. You should definitely check it out. This has been 8-Bit Animal. I will catch you beautiful people tomorrow.